Let me tell you the hard truth. Getting rich isn't complicated. People make it sound like some mystical process hidden behind secret doors, written in dusty books or whispered in elite circles. But the reality wealth is brutally simple. It doesn't require genius. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands something far rarer: brutal honesty and strategic courage. The reason most people never reach wealth isn't because it's too far out of reach. It's because they refuse to confront the price. They want wealth dressed in comfort, served with ease, delivered with a smile. But that's not how the world works. They want to work a little, complain a lot, and somehow expect the world to hand them treasure. They believe that a sprinkle of effort and a bucket of dreams will magically transform their lives. But the truth doesn't bend to dreams. It obeys principles. And the principle is this: money flows not to those who wish, but to those who play the game. Not the game they want it to be. The game as it is. Machiavelli knew this. He studied power, not comfort. He observed human nature, not fantasy. And what he saw was this: reality favors those who embrace it without illusion. So let's tear down the illusions. All of them. Forget the pretty lies, the comforting slogans, the feel-good nonsense you were sold. Work hard and good things will happen. Really, plenty of people work hard. Most of them are broke. Dream big and you'll succeed. No, dreaming without power is just entertainment. Those phrases are designed to keep you tame, obedient, predictable. And that's exactly what the system wants. Because predictable people are easy to manage. They wake up at the same time. They do the same tasks. They follow the same patterns. They scroll their phones. They go to their job. They come home, watch a show, sleep, repeat. Predictability is rewarded with survival, not with wealth. And survival is not the same as freedom. Comfort is not the same as control. Do you honestly think the system wants you to be rich? Of course not. The system wants you manageable. It wants you docile. It wants you dreaming but never acting. Because once you act, once you think, once you decide to build instead of beg, you become dangerous. And the system does not like dangerous people. Machiavelli laughed at the illusions of the masses. He saw what most ignore, that the world isn't fair, that reality doesn't reward goodness. It rewards boldness. Not those who wait for the rules to help them, but those who rewrite the rules in their favor. So here's the first brutal truth. Most people stay poor because they follow rules designed to keep them poor. They were told to work hard, save money, and pray things go right. But the wealthy, they don't pray, they plan. They don't save, they invest. They don't work for money, they make money work for them. Let me give you an image. Two people, same city, same year. One clocks in, collects a paycheck, saves a sliver of it, hoping for safety. The other studies markets, builds a small business, learns to sell. Fast forward a decade, one has fatigue and a bank account that barely beats inflation. The other assets, cash flow, leverage, freedom. What changed? Not the hours, not the effort, just the mindset. The wealthy don't play by the rules of the poor. They write their own. And those rules are simple. Own, control, multiply. The poor are taught to trade time for money. The rich understand that time is a terrible currency because it runs out. Ownership doesn't. When you own something, a business, an idea, a system, you no longer work for money. Money works for you. That's how the game changes. But most never take that first step. Why fear? The same fear that paralyzes millions every day. The fear of failing. The fear of looking foolish. The fear of stepping out of line. But what they never realize is this: the line leads nowhere. It leads to a retirement party with lukewarm cake and a pension that barely covers rent. Fear traps them in a cage they built. A cage called stability. A word that sounds safe but kills slowly. Jobs vanish. Economies crumble. Inflation eats your savings like termites in a house you thought was solid. That's not safety. That's slow death. And the bold ones, they're not chasing safety. They're chasing control. control of time, income, direction. And to get that control, they risk, not recklessly, but deliberately. They see what others ignore. That risk isn't the enemy, it's the door. Machiavelli said it, best fortune favors the bold, not the loud, not the emotional, the bold. Those who walk into the storm not hoping it passes, but prepared to conquer it. But still, most people stay broke, even when they know the truth, even when the facts are clear. Why? Because they confuse activity with progress. They hustle in place, like hamsters in a wheel, moving fast, going nowhere, working hard on things that don't matter, jobs that drain them, habits that dull them, people who distract them, and they call it progress. Getting rich is brutally simple because it's not about motion. It's about direction. Learn how money flows. Position yourself in its path. Build leverage. Capture more than you give. Guard it. Multiply it. That's it. Simple. Not easy. But possible. And possible is all you need. Think of money like a river. Most people stand at the edge hoping the current splashes a few drops their way. The wealthy, they build canals. They build pipelines. They divert the flow directly into their land. Same river, same opportunity. But one group waits, the other takes. One group prays, the other builds. And here's where it gets even more real. Machiavelli spoke of two forces, fear and desire. The wealthy understand both. They make people fear missing out. They make people desire what they offer. They create brands, products, movements not by logic, but by emotion. They tap into longing, into vanity, into hunger. They don't sell items. They sell identity. They don't pitch benefits. They plant dreams. So when you look at wealth, stop imagining stacks of cash. That's not wealth. Wealth is influence over human desire, control over attention, authority over perception. That's the true currency. The man who makes people want what he owns will never be poor. The woman who becomes impossible to ignore will never lack power. Because money follows magnetism, and magnetism can be built, but beware, this game has enemies. When you rise, people will whisper. They'll call you lucky, arrogant, greedy. They'll resent you because you did what they never dared. You stepped outside the cage. You rejected their comfort. And that makes them uncomfortable. But that's the price. Machiavelli warned us, power invites opposition. Wealth does too. So you must ask yourself, are you ready for that price? Are you prepared to abandon comfort in pursuit of control? Can you endure the judgment, the risk, the solitude, and still press forward? Because if you can, the path is open. The truth is, the world has always been divided not by intelligence, not by effort, but by perspective. From the moment you were a child, you were taught to stay small, not because you lacked potential, but because the system needed you manageable. It needed you obedient. It needed you to believe in the illusion of security. Sit still, memorize facts, don't question, raise your hand, get good grades, then go find a safe job. Stay there for 40 years, and quietly retire with just enough to survive. That was the script. That was the trap. And most never questioned it. They mistook obedience for wisdom. But the truth is, you weren't educated. You were domesticated. You were trained not for freedom, but for dependency. And that dependency is exactly what keeps most people broke. The system never wanted you to understand money. That's why schools don't teach it. They don't teach you how to sell, how to negotiate, how to invest, or how to build something from nothing. Why? Because if you knew how, you wouldn't need the system anymore. The wealthy understood this early on. They weren't distracted by the rules made for others. They rewrote their own, because they knew the real truth: wealth is not earned through labor. It is earned through leverage. It is not won by following the crowd. It is captured by stepping away from it. Picture a man who spends his entire life trading time for money. Every day, waking up at 6 a.m., putting on the same clothes, driving the same road, answering the same emails, and hoping that one day, if he's lucky, he'll be free. But freedom never comes. It can't, because he never built anything that could exist without him. Now picture another man. He starts the same, but he questions everything. He learns. He experiments. He fails. He builds, slowly at first. Then momentum kicks in. His side hustle becomes income. His income becomes investment. His investment becomes freedom. 10 years later, one man is still trading time. The other is trading assets. One is tired. The other is powerful. And it's not about luck. It's about the courage to ask, what if everything I was taught was a lie? Most people will never ask that question. Why? Because comfort is addictive. It feels good to be safe. It feels warm to be accepted. But comfort is the slow poison. And the worst part, it disguises itself as happiness. That's the tragedy. People think they're content. But really, they're just numb. They've traded fire for routine. They've buried ambition beneath distraction. And every day that passes, they drift further from the life they were capable of living. Machiavelli saw this long ago. He said men are quick to forget danger when times are good, but danger never forgets them. The world doesn't care about your comfort. It respects power, and power is earned through discomfort, through discipline, through strategy. If you want wealth, you must unlearn everything you were told. You must leave behind the soft lies and embrace the brutal truths. And the most brutal truth of all, you are the only one responsible for your future. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not the government, not society, just you. So where do you begin? Not with money. With skill. Skill is the weapon of the new age. Selling, writing, coding, design, persuasion, negotiation. These are the tools that build empires. Not degree, not resumes, not paper credentials, but real-world, hard-hitting skills. Master 1. Sharpen it daily, because skill creates value, and value attracts wealth. The more value you can produce, the more money will chase you. And once you have the skill, you build leverage. Leverage means multiplying your effort beyond your time. A job is linear. 1 hour equals 1 paycheck. A business is exponential. 1 product, 1 video, 1 piece of content can earn you money forever. The poor trade hours. The rich trade impact, and impact scales. Look at the internet. It's the great amplifier. It doesn't care about your background. It doesn't care about your accent, your past, your degrees. It cares about what you build. 1 post can go viral. 1 product can scale. 1 offer can change everything. But only if you dare to put it out there. Only if you risk being seen. And that's where most people fail. They're afraid to be visible. They fear rejection. They fear judgment. But invisibility is more dangerous than failure. If no one knows you exist, you've already lost. Machiavelli would tell you perception is power. The way people see you shapes the opportunities you receive. And the wealthy understand this. That's why they invest in their appearance, their brand, their narrative. They don't wait to be recognized. They demand it. They project strength, even when they feel fear. Because the world doesn't reward the most deserving. It rewards the most undeniable. And when you start to rise, be ready, because that's when the attacks come. The envy, the whispers, the resentment. People will say you changed, that you sold out, that you got lucky. But they won't see the nights you stayed up building while they slept. They won't see the risks you took while they hesitated. They'll just see your results and resent you for them. That's the price. But it's a price worth paying. Because on the other side of that resistance is freedom. And not the fake freedom of weekends off and 2 weeks of vacation. But real freedom. The kind that lets you wake up when you want. Go where you want. Work with who you choose. Say no without fear. That's what wealth buys. Not just things, but choices. But even once you begin to build wealth, the game isn't over. In fact, the real challenge begins. Because making money is one thing, keeping it is another, Money is like fire, it can warm you or burn you. And without discipline, it will destroy you. The newly rich are the most vulnerable. They confuse wealth with status. They buy liabilities. They try to look rich instead of staying rich. And that mistake costs them everything. The truly wealthy, they spend strategically. They don't flex for strangers. They don't chase approval. They buy assets. They buy privacy. They buy control. Their purchases serve a purpose. Every dollar is a soldier, and they send it into battle to bring back more. That's how wealth grows. Not through luck, not through hoarding, but through multiplication. And to protect it, they build walls, contracts, legal structures, strategic partnerships, because wealth attracts predators, leeches, lawsuits, betrayal. Machiavelli warned rulers of the same. Power without protection is weakness. The rich understand that, and if you want to stay rich, so must you. So now the question becomes this: will you stay where it's safe, or will you step into the storm? Will you keep obeying the script, or will you write your own? Because the rules are not hidden. They're in plain sight, but most are too scared to play. And that fear costs them everything. Comfort, predictability, obedience. These are not virtues. They are chains. Break them. There comes a moment where you must decide if you're going to be a spectator or a player, if you're going to watch others rise, or rise yourself. If you're going to scroll through success stories and whisper, "Must be nice," or build your own and say, "I earned this," because knowledge without action is self-deception. You can study money for years. You can quote every successful entrepreneur. You can plan until your fingers bleed. But if you don't move, nothing changes. If you don't act, you stay broke. Machiavelli said, "Fortune is like a river, powerful, wild, and constantly shifting. It overflows and crushes those who hesitate, but it feeds those who channel it." Wealth is the same. It flows to those who are ready, to those who build canals instead of shelters, those who act when others doubt, those who step into the current and dare to swim upstream. So what does action look like in this world of complexity and chaos? It's not magic. It's not mystery. It's brutally simple. Step 1, choose one skill and master it. Not 10, not 5. 1, pick a weapon and sharpen it daily until it cuts through doubt like a blade. Whether it's selling, marketing, writing, coding, trading, building, or speaking. Make it so sharp they can't ignore you. Because mastery creates confidence, and confidence attracts money like a magnet. Step 2, stop thinking like a worker. If every thought you have is about hourly wages, you've already lost. That's a mindset designed for survival, not wealth. Workers ask, "How much will I make this hour?" Owners ask, "What can I create today that pays me forever?" That's the shift. That's the escape. You must stop trading time and start creating machines. Machines that make money without your permission. Step 3, build leverage. You cannot get rich alone. You need systems, people, platforms, tools. That's how wealth is built. If you're a writer, the internet is your publisher. If you're a seller, your funnel is your sales force. If you're a builder, your systems are your team. Leverage takes your input and multiplies it. Without it, you're just one person. With it, you become a force. But here's where it gets hard. Step 4, embrace brutality. Getting rich isn't a parade. It's a war, and it will test everything in you. Your patience, your courage, your focus, your discipline. You'll be mocked, laughed at, ignored. You'll fail publicly. People you love may not understand you. Some may leave. And still, you must walk forward, because that path, filled with thorns and fire, is the only one that leads to freedom. Most won't make it. Not because they're weak, but because they never trained for pain. They were raised on comfort, spooned lies about fairness, fed hope instead of truth. But the few who endure, who press through when it gets dark, when it gets lonely, those are the ones who rise. Step 5, protect your fortress. The moment you start winning, ennemis appear. Fake friends will want a piece. Opportunists will come smiling. Some will try to copy. Others will try to destroy. That's reality. Machiavelli warned rulers to prepare for betrayal before it arrives. Wealth works the same way. Use contracts. Use boundaries. Use discernment. Protect what you build, because once you test freedom, you'll never want to lose it, and you won't have to if you protect it like a king guards his throne. But even all that is not enough, because there is one final level, and this is where most fall: the psychology of the end game. What happens once the money arrives? Because make no mistake, it will. If you walk the path with clarity and courage, it will come. But money doesn't solve your problems. It reveals them. If you were reckless, you'll be reckless with more. If you were insecure, you'll be insecure with millions. If you were lost, you'll still be lost, just in a nicer place. So you must prepare your mind, not just your wallet. Understand what wealth really is. Wealth is not Ferraris and private jets. Those are echoes, symbols, nuances. Real wealth is control. Control of your time, your mind, your choices. Real wealth is waking up and deciding how to live, not reacting to what others decide for you. If someone else owns your time, you are not free. If someone else controls your choices, you are not rich. No matter how shiny your shoes or how large your paycheck, Machiavelli taught that a true ruler thinks not just for today, but for generations. And that's the final evolution of wealth. Legacy, building something that lives beyond you. Money that feeds your children. Assets that empower your bloodline. Ideas that echo through time. That is the final prize. That is the end game. But most will never see it, because most will never begin. They'll hear this. They'll feel the fire. They'll nod. They'll agree. And then they'll scroll away. Back into the script. Back into the comfort, back into the cage, and the system will welcome them, pat them on the back, reward them with just enough to keep them quiet. And so, the cycle repeats. But just a few will decide today is the last day they live on someone else's terms. They will tear up the script. They will choose discomfort. They will study money like a soldier studies war. They will sharpen their skills like blades. They will build things no one gave them permission to build. And when they win, they will not apologize. They will not explain. They will simply nod, because they will know what most never will. Wealth was never complicated. It was just brutally simple. Learn, build, own, protect, multiply, repeat. And above all, understand this: no one is coming to save you. There is no rescue ship. No magic moment. No perfect plan. There is only this moment, this decision, and this question: are you willing to face the brutal part? Because if you are, you will rise. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but eventually, undeniably, you will rise, not as a follower, but as a ruler, not as a beggar, but as a builder, not as one who waits, but as one who owns. You will speak less, move smarter, strike faster. You will play the real game, and you will win, not because it was easy, not because it was fair, but because you had the courage to walk through fire while others stayed in the shade. The world doesn't need more dreamers. It needs more doers, and the path has always been there, hidden in plain sight, wrapped in brutal simplicity, waiting for someone brave enough to follow it. So here we are. The illusions are gone. The truth is bare. The time is now. The script ends. Your story begins.